Hello folks, and welcome to this week's show. This week we're chasing probably one of my favorite fur bearers to go after, the eastern coyote. We're going to start out in Pennsylvania and we're going to head to Mississippi, and make sure you definitely don't want to miss that one, because that is probably the meanest coyote I've ever caught. This is trapping time.
Do you have the drive to be a trapper? They question my skill and my motive. They call me a Hollywood trapper. I give it my all to this game called trapping so that she can experience the challenge.
Well, it's getting late. Sun's going down, baby. Smell that. Just screams coon. The brush pile set came about.
We as trappers push ourselves to the limits.
This is my first Mississippi cat. I hate it. There's a gray fox down here. I caught this pretty little red right here. That is a monster. They're so big we got to drag them like deer. Peyton second beaver.
This is what you experience when you go on a trapping trip.
Brand new beaver trap. Got the FB1. I see the tail. Beautiful. He's got a muddy mess happening. We got one. Right, exactly what I'm talking about, right here in this dip. 1 second.
Robby, Gilbert, king of four-man film. Did you happen to see that last night?
I got something up here. Aha! 175s are definitely doing their job.
Do you have what it takes to play the game?
Three.
Follow me on my journey. This is my story. This is my time. This is trapping time.
Now we threw these sets out. All of you guys, you guys like catching them in the woods. I hear all the time, you can't catch them in the woods. They're too hard. You got to have them out in the fields. Well, in my part of the country, if you're going to put up high numbers, that's what you got to do. You got to get out in the woods with them. And right up here, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is a little bit of a log landing here. If you're looking behind me and it looks like it's really, really wide open, it's just a little log landing is all it is. They took some timber out here a few years ago, but right up here is what we're after. It is a cool looking dog. Now, as you can see, we had a buried bait set in here, and this coyote has really got this tore up. We got a hind foot catch. We're using a Duke 175. But if you look behind me, it's a perfect travel way. Now, what ends up happening with these hind foot catches is they really pull everything up and get it really, really tore up. So we're gonna have to modify this set a little bit to make it work. But one thing we've got now is some serious eye appeal. So we're going to dispatch him, get him out of here. We're going to remake this set the best we can. That way we can put a coyote in here. Now this coyote actually had a set over here, and he played around with it just a little bit. And you can see he went to it first and this one second. And that's one of the things, when I'm making double sets, it's not so much that I want to catch two animals, which is awesome. Anytime you can double, it's great. But it seems like the second set is always the one that connects. Now we're gonna come in here and try and find our trap set up. There it is, there's our Duke. We're gonna dig this out. Let's see what we got here. Now, usually if I'm in a field, I'll bring all this stuff back up together. There's just too much here. So we're gonna try and get rid of as much of this stuff as we can and get it out of here before we make our remake. I mean, we're not wanting to look back to perfect, because now we've got a lot of coyotes sent in here. But what we're wanting to do, we want to make him set it up so he'll actually work the trap the way we want him to. I hear a lot of times these guys having trouble catching them in the woods. It's no different catching fields. If anything, you've actually got a little bit of an advantage because you're controlling him. We're within 10 feet of his travel way any way we want, as long as we're staying close to these roads. Now you guys hardly ever see me use my shovel because I use a cookie cutter, but we're gonna have to come in here because he had so much stuff tore up, and it's freezing and thawing. It was 20-something degrees last night. It's low 30s right now. It is supposed to warm up into the 40s, but we got to find this trap bed, so we're going to clean this stuff out of here and get our hammer out and just repound that bed back in. Now, because we know it's going to freeze this week, what I like to do before I put my trap back down in the hole, put a little layer of peat moss down in there. We want that pan as level as we possibly can get it. and we're gonna put them in the wrong way. That's how I hear all the time. Hey, Robby, you're putting your trap in the wrong way. I like my levers towards the hole or whatever object we're putting it in. All right, you wanna make sure that trap is solid because we are bedding with peat moss, so we wanna make sure this trap does not move. Take our peat moss. Get it back on there. Now, this was a buried bait set that I had put pure hop in. He never made it to the bait, so I'm not too worried about it. I know he can smell it, so we're not going to put any pure hop back in, but we're going to probably use some type of call lure type lure we're going to put on it just to give him another reason to stop and work it from this direction. Now what we're going to use this time, we're going to use some Murray's pure quill, which is a beaver quill, and we've already got enough coyote smell, guys. I don't need to come in here and start wasting a bunch of coyote gland. I mean, this coyote has got it obviously tore up enough. We don't need to worry about that. But what I am going to do, I'm going to put some of this in this basically caster. That's all it is. But we're going to take some of it, and this is going to be our call lure. This is what's going to bring him in here to kind of work this set. And a lot of times you're always worried about how much lure you're putting down. Man, I love the smell of that stuff. Don't worry about it. When it comes to stuff like this, it's cold out, boys. They're going to find it and they're going to work it. If this was opening day last week in October, it may worry me a little bit, but we're well in mid-December. It's going to be cold for a while. Sometimes a little extra lure goes a long way, especially when you're dealing with the call lures. This is actually a beaver lure, but I've found a lot of success when I mix it in, especially with like a buried bait set, which our bait's buried under this hump. I'm not going to dig it back up because it's kind of senseless. I mean, I've showed you guys a buried bait set before, but you know, and that's one nice thing about a buried bait set. The bait's still there. You know, if you want to do anything to make sure that the bait and stuff was still working, see, I just hit that soft spot. Give yourself that little smokestack there. That way, that meat that we used, which was the pure hop in this situation, is going to come out. So now we've got our call lure to bring him in. They know there's a meal there. Well, probably what happened with this coyote, because it was caught by the hind leg, is when he came up to work that, we busted him right on top. Game over. He had more things on his mind than digging for pure hop. So if you use this little set, we're in the woods, guys. They can be caught. You want to put up big numbers in the east, you need to figure out a way to catch them in the woods. This little set here is probably one of the slickest sets, easiest sets you can put in to put more fur on your stretcher. Talk about a cool little setup right there. That just shows you that sometimes you got to throw something at them besides an old dirt hole or flat set to put them in the bed of your truck. When we come back, we're headed to the Trapping Time set of the week, and we're going to hook up with my good friend Brian McKee from Southern Snares and Supply, and he's going to show you some tips on snaring beaver.
The Big Game Gut Glove is revolutionizing the way big game hunters and trappers are successful in the field. The 26-inch version fits over your elbows and protects you and your expensive hunting clothing from blood or cold water. They're made to fit your hands from extra small to extra large.
What I like about them, I can feel with them.
Existing products on the market don't give you the feel or protection you need. Wet or dry, the special non-slip grip bonds tightly to whatever you're handling. The Big Game Gut Gloves are reusable so you save money and promote going green.
Hey folks, be sure to check out our all-star lineup for the upcoming season. New for 2018 is the hard-hitting Blackout Predator bait. If you're looking for a beaver-based bait with some kick, this is it. We're also proud to add to the batting order our line of mouse-based baits. If you're looking for a mice bait so pure it's practically eating cheese in the container, then you will want to try Peyton's Pretty Mouse. Maybe you're looking for a bait with some long-range appeal for those cold winter nights, then you've got to try Peyton's Dirty Mouse. When you're serious about trapping predators like we are, then be sure to make your next purchase at TrappingTimeTV.com.
We've got a little bit of a walk through here to get to where we need to go to set these snares, and so follow along. We'll see what we can find. Alright, so I got my first place picked out. I got the dam right behind me. It's about 20 feet behind me. And what we're going to do is we got enough cable or enough wire right here to wrap around the tree. So we got basically we got the snare anchored, an anchor point here, and we've cut off enough to use also as a snare support. Now before I head out to where I'm going, I like to take all my snares and wrap them individually so they're just easier to get to. It saves you time while you're out in the field. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can just put the swivel right on the wire like I did there, or you can put your wire down first and use an easy or a sleep easy or a quick link to secure your snare. So we got that. We'll wrap that around enough times we know that's going to be sturdy enough to hold whatever we catch. Don't underestimate the strength of a beaver. Most of the time, sure, they don't have the leverage or the grip to get out of something like this, but occasionally they will. Okay, so we got that ready. I like my snares to have about a 10-inch loop. We'll start there, which would be slightly larger on most people as the width of your hand. So that's a good indication to go. All right, to go with. Secure that with the poly support and get that lined up just like that. Perfect. All right, so we'll put that a little bit deeper. I like setting mine, about half and half. Half that loop above water, half this loop above or below water. All right, so that's ready to go. I found me a nice branch. We got to have something for the beaver to swim through. So I grabbed this. We're going to use this. We're going to lean this up right against the tree. If you can find one that's got a V at the top to help secure it, even better. That's going to keep it from falling down. Okay, now this beaver's going to have something to swim through when he's out here looking around. Alright, so that's set up. The snare is set up. Now we're going to lure it. When that beaver comes over this snare, or that dam, he's going to smell this lure. We're going to put it on the front side of this stick, and we're going to put it on the back side. Nope, it ain't going to stick there. We'll just put some up here. If you can get it to stick to the back side, it's going to help protect it in case it rains. It won't wash off quite as fast. So he'll come over that dam. He's going to smell this. He's going to start swimming around looking for whatever he's smelling. He's going to look for the source of that. And hopefully he'll swim right through here and get caught. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day.
Before you make your next trapping supply purchase, be sure to check out TrappingTimeTV.com. We have an extensive line of products and we're adding new products all the time. If you've seen it on the show, we have it. Don't forget to check out the Trapping Time line of baits and lures. You will definitely want to try out our #1 selling Back 40 Predator bait. We also are the home of the Trapping Time Trap Bed Cookie Cutter. Make TrappingTimeTV.com your last stop.
For some of us, trapping season never ends. It's in our blood and defines the very person we are. Let Southern Snares and Supply be part of your trapping world. Be sure to try out our best-selling capital punishment predator bait and our new Pure Gator oil.
Thanks, Brian. That was an awesome tip. Now we're going to head back on the coyote line in the snow, probably one of my favorite times of the year to be chasing coyotes. Guys, when it gets cold and snowy, that only means one thing. Coyotes are on the move, and they're just asking to be caught. We took a dog here the other day. Same exact setup. I've got a brush pile set right here behind me that I would have bet $100 was going to hit. For some reason, they're hitting this one right here. You know, I made this remake the other day. I caught that one dog, and I had a feeling this was going to hit again. Is this just your atypical perfect spot? You've got this nice ridge line behind me, and there's a four-wheeler path that cuts through all this thick brush. It naturally is going to bring these dogs right here. You always hear me talk about subtle backing. Subtle backing's right here. We've got a hilltop.
these coyotes are naturally going to come in here and want to work the set from this direction. So I don't need a lot of backing. I had a little stick here, which was, it may be 1.5 feet long. All it did was just to give them a little bit of eye appeal before the snow hit. Once the snow hit, it's all smell with these dogs. Pretty nice coyote, a little bit bigger than the one I caught the other day. I figured I was going to catch another one in here because there was a couple dogs with that one that I caught the other day because I could see the tracks in the snow. They're moving right now. You know, you got to keep these traps firing. And especially like this trap here. We've already taken 2 coyotes out of here. We still got a few more days on our line. We definitely want to make sure this one's working because this one here is consistently starting to put dogs in and starting to get a lot of activity. And I'll be shocked if we don't catch another one right here. It's probably 15 degrees out here, you know, and when you're trapping this time of year, you're fighting every element. You got snow and the freezing. You've got to keep your traps working. Sometimes it takes a little bit of maintenance. You know, I'm a peat moss guy, peat moss from day one, and it worked out good on this one here. They have just crushed this set. We're gonna go in here and see if we can find our bed or what's left of it. Take a little bit of peat moss and line the bottom. Get a good insulator in there because we want to put a little bit of separation between the ground and this trap. We're using our 175. Now I know guys that'll bed these right in snow and not have any issues. Try to find something that's going to make it tight in there. We'll find us a spot in here. That's hard. Hard as rock. Alright. We just want something to hold bait. Because where my bait hole was at before has obviously gotten blown out. Alright, now right here's our pan. Now I'm setting back a little farther than I normally am. But now what I want to do is I want to direct this animal. It's kind of like a trench set in a way. We're going to give him a reason to step down there. And anybody that's watched the show or followed me for a while, I like my pan and everything to be somewhat level. Well, this situation here is the one time that I'm okay with it not being perfectly level. We're going to guide him right down in there. Now what's going to happen tonight? We're going to get more snow on here, and that's just going to build that up, give it a natural look. If you guys remember what I did the other day on that remake, I made a nice little trough. Well, we don't really have that today because it's a lot more froze. But we've got a nice little thing to direct him down in here. Reach over here and grab my stick. I don't catch myself first. That's more of that subtle backing. Something to just give him a reason not to want to work from the side. And now, we're going to bait it back up. We're going to put some blackout back in it. That's what was in it before. Which is a beaver-based bait that we've been having a lot of success with. Son of a gun. This is the kind of day I'm having, guys. If it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong today. Alright, so we got that taken care of. Now what I'm going to do, normally you guys watch the show, what don't I do after I catch something? I usually don't put any gland lure, and I'm not going to. I'm going to put a little bit of 007. Man, let's get a little 007 from Old South in here. It's got kind of a skunky-ish odor, but it's going to call a little ways. We're going to put it here, a little bit there. I want a little bit of drawing power. This is trapping at its finest, trapping at its worst. I love this time of year. This is what separates the early season trappers from the real trappers. You learn to catch them this time of year and put them up numbers, the rest of the season's smooth sailing. And if you notice, I don't just have a hoodie on today, so that should tell you how cold it is. Everybody always says, you're the guy that just wears a hoodie when it's cold. Well, fortunately, the cold doesn't bother me too much, but today, it's bothering me a lot.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at Smokey'sDeerLure.com.
The Big Game Gut Glove is revolutionizing the way big game hunters and trappers are successful in the field. The 26-inch version fits over your elbows and protects you and your expensive hunting clothing from blood or cold water. They're made to fit your hands from extra small to extra large.
What I like about them, I can feel with them.
Existing products on the market don't give you the feel or protection you need. Wet or dry, the special non-slip grip bonds tightly to whatever you're handling. The Big Game Gut Gloves are reusable so you save money and promote going green.
Now we're headed to Mississippi. You know, we go to Mississippi every year and we do a combination water and we also do a landline. We're down there to catch whatever fur bearer we can. And I have a little sweet spot. If you guys remember from last year, a little sweet spot with a big piece of farm machinery at the end of this big long field. It's always served me well. When I moved in this year, I thought, you know what? Maybe lightning can strike twice.
Well, guys, this is probably one of my favorite spots. If I'm setting coyote traps in Mississippi, right here is probably one of my favorite spots. There's an old piece of farm machinery here, and I seem to catch a coyote by it every year. So it's kind of that nostalgic where I have to come back. When I come back, I'm going to throw that in here. This is a big dog. I mean, we've got some big coyotes in Pennsylvania where I'm from, but this is a big old coyote. I mean, a really weird color phase. I mean, we get into some different color phases around the country, but this one here, when me and Jason was rolling up on him, we had some traps back here, I said, boy, he's dark. Got a real nice white throat patch on him, but using a Duke 175, that is about as much pad catch as you're going to get, especially on a hind foot catch. He came in here and worked this set, and it wasn't really a dirt hole, it was more of somewhat of a scent post type set. It's probably one of the most aggressive coyotes I've ever been around. You know, we're trying to get footage and even a couple of pictures, and he wanted no parts of me at all. I'd get even close and he'd want to get a hold of me. So we're gonna come back in here and get our trap bed. That's the important thing, is making sure this trap is back in and solid last night. All right, so we're gonna turn this little scent post deal in to almost a dirt hole now. We're gonna come up a little bit in the front. We're gonna push that down in there. Now if you see my angle, I'm almost straight up and down. We don't need a super steep angle because we've got this here that's gonna attract. You can't smell the nose. We're gonna take some back 40, a little bit louder. We're gonna put it down the hole.
Guys, I want to tell you what. I've caught hundreds of coyotes. Don't even know exactly how many I've caught. Caught them in a lot of different states. You know, our northern coyotes are usually bigger, but I can honestly say that coyote there was probably the meanest coyote I've ever been around that was in a trap. From the time we pulled up on him, that old dog wanted me out of there. I don't know if you could really tell about the way the episode and the segment turned out, but I was worried. Jason Webster was filming me, and the whole time I'm like, dude, we got to get this filmed. You know, our number one concern is the comfortable of the animal and not putting a lot of stress on them. But this coyote was really starting to put some stress on me because he wanted me and he wanted me bad. You know, we was able to get the good shot. We got some great footage. Awesome time. But that coyote, I can honestly say, of all the coyotes I've caught, that was probably the absolute meanest coyote I've ever been around in my entire life. Well, folks, I'm glad you joined us this week. Next week, we're going to go and do the conclusion of the Otter Bowl 2018. See what happens between me and Jason Webster and see who actually pulls out for the win. Like we always say, until next time, we're keeping the tradition alive here at Trapping Time.